Let's all raise our hands right now. Yeah, I do. Not a fan, right? Not a fan of the Medicare Part B premium. That sucker keeps going up every single year. Anyway, that thing went up by 9.6% from 2025 at $185 a month to now 2026 being an increase of 9.6% or an increase of $17.90 up to $202.90 a month per person for the Medicare Part B premium. I'm just going to say this much really quickly. I can't tell you how many comments I've seen down below this year alone. I can tell you this much. We're still very early on in 2026. I've seen more comments down below this year of people reaching out saying, I'm canceling Medicare Part B, which, by the way, I am not endorsing that. I'm just saying do what you got to do for yourself. I'm certainly not saying that you should do that. But I've seen more comments of people so far this year saying they're canceling their Medicare Part B compared to any other year ever on this channel. I mean, a lot of people I think are finally just getting really fed up with this because this price is ridiculous. It's gone up a lot and really pinching the benefits of a lot of beneficiaries. Anyway, so that's a huge one right there, a 9.6% increase. Meanwhile, you got a 2.8% raise to your benefit in the form of the COLA. Yeah, the COLA, right? What a freaking joke that is, right? We all know the details, and you know my opinion on the COLA. I think it's an absolute manipulated joke. And it really hurts the beneficiaries, okay? Now, that's that. Now, assisted living has gone up massively as well, which, maybe that's something you're currently utilizing. Maybe it is something you may utilize at some point in the future, but that is getting massively expensive, as you can see in the article here. The average across the board on a monthly basis, man, this is nuts. $6,300 a month is the average assisted living cost across the country. That's nuts. I'm not sure about you. How many people out there who are retired or, whatever their situation is, living in fixed income, are living on a fixed income and living with assisted living can really draw and pay $6,300 a month? That is nuts. That is a lot of money for a lot of people, right? What is that a year? That's like 75 grand a year, roughly. I'm kind of just mentally adding this. It's like 75 grand a year. That is a lot of money to be living in a place, assisted living. Anyway, that's that. Now, auto insurance is also another massive one that has gone up. As you can see in the article as well, they've indicated the premiums, even on people with a great driving record, like perfect driving record, right? Premiums are still going up 15, 20, even 30% for some individuals. That is nuts as well. That is ridiculous, right? And that's a huge increase. And remember, we got to remember this as well. Our incomes went up by 2.8%, and all of these things are going up massively, like 10, 15, 20%, 9.6%. It's nuts, okay? Now, another big one as well, property taxes. This is a super nasty one. Property taxes. If you happen to be somebody that owns a home or a property and you have property taxes, well, you probably have received your statement at some point, probably late last year, showing how much your property taxes are going to go up in 2026. Nasty situation. They're going up a ton across the country. And as you noticed in this article here, that the reason for that is there's so many vacancies. These greedy cities and counties and areas basically need to get that tax revenue from somewhere. So they have all these vacant office buildings and places that they need to squeeze somebody to get that money so they can blow it on dumb stuff. So they squeeze the homeowners. It's nasty. Now, here's the deal. You might be thinking, well, look at me. I dodged that one. I'm a renter. I don't need to pay property taxes. I hope you're sitting down. I'm going to tell you some bad news right now. Here's how it works, okay? If you're a renter, guess who pays the property taxes? You do. You do through your rent. If the landlord gets a huge increase in their property taxes, guess what they're going to do to you? Just let you sail on by? No. They're going to jack your rent because they need to pay for that. They need to pay for the increased property taxes somehow. And who's going to pay it? The tenant. Okay, so if you're a tenant and you're a renter, and again, I'm sorry to have to break the news to you, but that's how the game works. I mean, that is how it works with these properties. So whether you're in a single home, whether you're in an apartment, whatever it happens to be, if you're renting, just recognize your landlord is paying the bills. Okay, they're the ones. Well, I should say the property taxes. They're the ones paying the property taxes, and they're going to float that increase onto you, the tenant, okay? Now, here's another nasty one as well. Insurance on homeowners insurance, things like that have gone up a ton as well, right? We've seen that massively over the last few years here, especially with some of those events in the southern states where we're getting hammered by, not tornadoes, what are those things called? Hurricanes. Yeah, hurricanes, that's what they're called. Tornado in the ocean, whatever that thing is called, right? A hurricane. Anyway, these states that are getting hammered in the south by hurricanes and all these weird fires and all kinds of other stuff, right? These insurance companies are getting hammered by expenses. So what do? They raise premiums for everybody. So for the last 5 or 6 years or so, we've seen huge insurance premiums coming all across the entire country. And again, this comes back, whether you're a homeowner, you got to pay that as well, your insurance on your home, or if you are a renter, remember, guess what happens? When the landlord gets the bill and the insurance on the building has gone up by 10, 15, 20% or whatever it has, guess what they do? Oh, hey, yeah, we're going to raise your rent because we got to pay for this somehow. Yeah, the tenants pay for that, right? So even if you think, I'm renting, I don't need to pay the taxes, I don't need to pay the insurance, you're going to pay that. Okay, again, I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news here. I'm just telling you, this is the reality, and this is how this whole thing works, okay? It's a very nasty situation. Now, there's a ton of other expenses. And again, in that article that I popped up there, you could see all those different expenditures coming across. This is a nasty situation. And again, it all comes back to the affordability situation that I've talked about multiple times so far this year. And I've said, get ready. The word affordability is going to be the word of 2026. Just